it still hurt. But somehow the sun did come up again. It's a new day, a new season, and the Raiders start a brand new era.
And to the Oakland Raiders players, past and present, and to the #1 fans in football, the Raider Nation, I embrace this opportunity and I embrace this challenge as your head coach.
Bill Callahan has a fresh start with familiar faces. Faces of determination, determined to right a wrong. As the Raider Nation expands, all are focused on being in San Diego in late January. The process and the journey begins right now. The Oakland Raiders have crowded Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, to take on another glamour team in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Gray. I'm joined by former Raider great Sean Jones. And Sean, it's been a very busy offseason for the Forum. You're ready for some football, aren't you? George Atkinson will join us on the sidelines.
George Atkinson, your sideline reporter. You know, this year I've spent a lot of time in Raiders training camp, and a few things really jumped at me. First, this is a very talented team. Second, this team practices at a high level of energy. And third, they're very disciplined. Let's see if those three things manifest themselves tonight against the Cowboys. Jim, back to you.
All right, George. Sebastian Janikowski will kick off. The Raider preseason is underway. Kicks it long and high, taken by Reggie Swinton. He'll bring it out. Out to the 20, breaks a tackle, and is run out of on the play by Johnny Harris. 31-yard kickoff return for the Cowboys, who now will set up their offense. We take a look at the starting lineups for the Dallas Cowboys on offense. They're, of course, led by Quincy Carter at quarterback in his third year out of Georgia. There you see his statistics last year, a very banged-up offensive line. A lot of holes being filled there as three of them are out of tonight's game. We take a look at their backs and receivers. Emmitt Smith will not play tonight because of the banged-up offensive line, so he will be watching from the sidelines as Troy Hambrick, who filled in very well last year, Sean, for Emmitt Smith, takes the carry right there.
And Hambrick is a guy that, you know, they're so slowly transitioning into this offense. You know, when you've had...
Line you're quite familiar with, big change there, John Perella. He fills in. Bill Romanowski has been added, along with Greg Biegert and Eric Martin. And in the secondary, Terrence Shaw, Anthony Dorsett, Johnny Harris, Torrey James, Charles Woodson will not play tonight because of the turf toe that he had last year. However, it is not bothering them this year, but they're playing on turf, and they just don't want to take another chance as we see Hambrick once again on the carry, taken down by Bryant.
You touched on it in the opening, Jim. You know, it's an exciting time. The first preseason game, first time that you've really gotten a chance to get a live contact. Yeah, the Cowboys had a scrimmage last week against the Texans, but this is the first time in game situation where you're able to get after it. So now, what do you expect out of this? Well, your starters are only going to play maybe one series. But the guys that are backing up, you know, you have to be able to evaluate how they're going to be, you know, where they fit on your football team. That's what they at least hope to get out of this game.
Carter completes the pass once again. This time it's to Robert Thomas, who was very successful last year, brought down by James. Very successful last year coming out of the backfield and also blocker for Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, Thomas is an integral part of their offense, and what he does well for a big guy, he gets out to the flat and it has soft hands and bring the ball in. This is another thing that you'll see this year with the Cowboys and their offense. Coslett likes to get the ball to his running backs and a lot of times to the wide receivers out in the flat, using the short passing game as their running game at times.
Sets up a 3rd and 7. Carter attempting his 4th straight pass. He has a receiver, and we'll see where that ball's marked, but Keon makes the catch, and he is pushed out of bounds by Derek Gibson.
Rambo was a guy that was with the Raiders last year, got released. The Cowboys picked him up, spent the rest of the season with the Cowboys. They're very high on him. But you saw just a little nuance, a little wrinkle that you didn't see in years past with the Cowboys. You see the movement, taking Quincy Carter, getting him out the pocket, using his abilities, putting an offense in that you can use to the best of his abilities. On motion, moving the ball, trying to get the ball down the field.
First for the Cowboys. Carter, he almost throws the Raiders offside. Chased in the backfield and has to throw it away, and a penalty flag comes flying in as Torrey James almost had Carter sacked. And we have our first penalty of the game.
There were 2 fouls by Oakland on the play. Offside, number 7. Also personal foul, roughing the passer, number 94. Contact to the helmet with the arm. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Tony Bryant with the penalty, as you saw Ed Hockley. Let's take another look, Sean.
Yeah, the pressure's going to come from the outside. Carter doing a very good job of getting away from the pressure. And you're going to see coming in late. Anytime, I mean, they do, the league has mandated that they're going to do anything to protect the quarterbacks, even if it's inadvertent. You get a hand to the face, they're going to call it. They called it on 96. I think that's what they called it on. This would be Perella, but I don't think it was Perella on that play.
Tony Bryant, who got in there. They now walk it off.
If you're Perella, you love for them to call that because he never gets close to the quarterback that way.
Takes the Cowboys all the way down to the Raider 32-yard line. Handoff goes to Troy Hambrick once again. Hambrick averaged 5.1 yards per carry last year, Sean, and he did pretty good on that one as he gained 3 or 4.
Yeah, we joked about Perella just a second ago, but kid came back from San Diego, talking about one of the additions that the Raiders added, a guy like Perella. That position last year was up and down. You had guys that left for suspensions and other things, and they wanted to get some stability right there in the middle. A guy that can give you 2 good downs and run downs, take on blockers so the linebackers can roam, and they've been getting it out of Perella so far in camp.
3 carries for Hambrick, 10 yards. Sets up now a 2nd and 7, and Carter gives it to him once again. There's a lot of space there. All the way down to the 7-yard line before he's met by several of the Raiders. Terrence Shaw got to him finally. 22-yard run.
Now, you can say what you want to say about preseason, but this kind of lanes being open against any defense at any time of the year is going to make a defensive coaching staff not very happy. What happens is you have guys with their shoulders turned and not playing square. You create these vertical lanes, and a guy like Hambrick is going to pick that apart every time.
Play of the drive coming up for the Cowboys. After a good return, set this up. They have now marched straight down the field. This time the handoff goes once again to Hambrick as he takes it off the right side for just a couple.
Now, this will probably be the only series where you see ones against ones and you try to get a good gauge of where you are and how your development has been. When I played with the Raiders, Jim, what we tried to do in preseason was, one, just to stay healthy and not get hurt. And then secondly, try to execute. Irrespective of whether you win the game or not, you want to execute every single down. Conversely, on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys, because of the horrible season that they had last year and so many offensive woes, you know that they're coming out here trying to get their offense established and try to get some success in this very first series.
Thomas goes in motion. Carter back to pass. He lobs it up in the air, all alone in the back of the end zone, but overthrown. Standing by himself was Tony McGee, the tight end. And Carter will regret that one when he looks at the films tomorrow. Wide open, Sean.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to see Carter drops back here, and you're always told to defend the back of the end zone. You cannot drop a guy. You always have to play to the back of the end zone because after that, he's out of bounds. Doing a very good job of getting open, and there has to be some confusion in coverage for a guy to be that wide open in the back of the end zone.
Brings up a 3rd and 6 for the Cowboys. Carter. So the Raiders will feel good about holding the Cowboys. It was intended for McGee, and a field goal unit will come on now for the Cowboys.
Once again, they're trying to use Quincy Carter, get him out in space to see if he can use his feet to buy time, and nice pressure coming from the outside. The Raiders have made a concerted effort this training camp to make sure, as always, that the quarterback goes down and goes down all the time, and doing a nice job in the series.
Tim Cedar will try from 23 yards out. He's got it. Cowboys strike first. They go up on the board. 3-0. And Sean, they basically went straight down the field. Raiders offense will get the ball back. When we return, Jim will receive Cedar's kick. Also back, Anthony Dorsett. And Dorsett will retrieve it on. Oh, that's Hill, pardon me. Hill does take the ball, brings it out about 10 yards. Madre Hill from Arkansas, as Rich Gannon and the Raiders will now take the field. Gannon expected to play a series or two tonight, coming off a big season, Pro Bowl year. There you take a look at what he did last year. 27 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions. Baron Robbins will be the starting center. Lincoln Kennedy will play a little bit tonight. There you see it, the great wide receivers, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, and Charlie Gardner, joined by John Ritchie in the backfield tonight. And Gannon comes out throwing, and he has a man. And the ball is caught and complete by Jerry Rice. That didn't take long. It's brought down by Bryant Westbrook. As we take a look at the Cowboy defense, Leroy Glover, the big addition. He comes over from the New Orleans Saints. Wynn, of course, the big middle linebacker. Kevin Hardy and Dexter Coakley, the soul of the Cowboy defense. And you take a look at the defensive backfield. Brian Westbrook, who just made that tackle, as it becomes now 2nd and 4. And the handoff is made by Gannon over to Charlie Gardner. He gets the first down, gain of 7 yards on the play, and he is taken down by Darren Woodson.
Well, Charlie Gardner on that last play, you know, you look at him, and it's a slightest guy. He's every bit of 5'1", probably a buck 14, but they run him between the tackle because he's so tough. And they have the luxury of going with Wheatley and Garner. And when you talk about, you hear thunder and lightning being tossed around the league, this is truly thunder and lightning because they're both very guys that can hit you from any place on the field.
Gannon with good protection. He's got a man. Ball is complete. Nice pass. It's caught by Jerry Porter, who takes it all the way down to the 20-yard line before being run out by Tony Dixon, a gain of 37 yards. And that's the Raider offensive old.
Stretching the field, getting the ball downfield. And Jerry Porter, when you talk to the head coach and you talk to everybody on this football team, they love the way Porter came to camp. They said, you know, he's coming to camp. He came to camp in good shape, had a decent camp, but got hurt. We are so excited that he's been healthy thus far, and he's been so productive in camp. We want to see what he can get done in the preseason and really give them an opportunity to go with that 3-wide set during the regular season.
Hand off to Gardner. Very little room. Bought down by Ebenezer Ekuban. Take a look at Gardner's statistics over the past 3 seasons. Remarkable about that, Sean, is that
Dallas, number 97, 5-yard penalty, will repeat first down.
Leroy Glover right there was offside, so they will repeat first down, bring the Raiders to 1st and 5, all the way down now to the 18-yard line. As I was saying, Gardner has been just sensational when you consider there's only 2 backs who have had more yardage combined in the National Football League. I'm sure you know who they were.
Yeah, Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk. And you would, when you mentioned those 2 names, not know that Guy Garner has had the success that he's had, not just here, but if you look at what he had to say San Francisco, just a very, very productive back.
Williams goes in motion. Raiders set up a screen. It's complete to Gardner. He dances around a little bit. Gain of 2 before he is brought down by Kevin Hardy. And Wynn combined on the tackle. So both offenses moving the ball, Sean.
Yeah, and this is the West Coast offense at its very best. You have the multiple sets, getting the ball to the running back, the ball we saw earlier to Porter. What Coach said when he came here, he had a great line. He said, you know what, I want to take the Raiders offense of old, which is stretching the field, and combine it with the West Coast offense. You're seeing it right now in this series.
2nd and 4. Gannon has called an audible. Looks downfield. Incomplete. The pass was intended for John Ritchie, but Gannon just kind of threw that one away.
And they'll look at that play tomorrow, and they'll say, man, that's the matchup we wanted. We have Richie, who's a running back, albeit he's a fullback, on Greg Ellis. You'll take that mismatch every day of the week.
Of course, the new offensive coordinator closest to us is Mark Trestman. He comes over from Arizona. And right on his side, right next to him, Bill Callahan, the new Raider coach, brings up 3rd and 4. Gannon pass, has the time, throws it out, and a nice grab is made by Garner. He holds on to it, and that'll be good enough for the first down. Gain of 5.
Yeah, when you've had such a personality like you had here in John Gruden, and you make the transition to a Coach Callahan, what you want to do, like I said in the opening, you don't want to mess it up at all. You just want to keep the continuity going. And what they did and what they've been trying to do all preseason is just keep it the same every down, every play, every day. What you'll see here today is there's been a collaboration in the play calling. And Trestman will echo the plays to the quarterback, but he and Callahan will talk about the plays before they come in.
Big hole once again for Garner, and he takes it all the way down to the 8-yard line, and Woodson and Wynn combine for the stop. Very impressive drive as you take a look at Mark Trestman. 3 seasons at Arizona. He is calling the plays. Coach Bill Callahan told us today when we that he will know the plays, he'll have a discussion, he'll have a hand in it, but the communication will be, and the decision will ultimately be Trestman into the helmet of Gannon. As we go to 2nd and 6 on the 6-yard line, Garner again, and he draws a crowd. Gain of about 1. Dexter Cloakley, the first of many to get to him.
To get as best as we can so our guys get accustomed to what we're trying to get done.
3rd and 4. No one in the backfield. Blow. Play was stopped before it got underway. And we'll hear from Ed Hockley.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, Oakland, number 65. 5-yard penalty, it's still 3rd down.
Barry Sims he was ready to go, Sean, before the rest of the team.
Yeah,
I don't know that I see that.
He did move up, and as I can't take his side. He did move, he did move a little bit. It used to make me mad when they got away with it.
Brings up now a 3rd and 11. Got a 3rd and 9 from the 11. Gannon with good protection again. No one's out there. And we'll see Sebastian Janikowski will come onto the field.
In the preseason, in their camp, and they grade every kick. Kicked over 100 kicks so far in training camp, and it's 97%. So they grade every position to keep that level of consistency all the way through.
92%. He gets this one to go up and in. 29-yard field goal. The Raiders have responded. Both teams with their first drive end up with field goals. We're tied at 3 from Texas Stadium. Going full blast on both sidelines. One of the reasons that the Cowboys moved their training camp to San Antonio this year is because they could practice indoors at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah,
and we'll talk quite a bit about that.
There's something wrong about that. There's just something wrong about being indoors.
Janikowski to Swinton. This time he's brought down at the 22-yard line. In Texas, as we said, let's check in with George Atkinson, who's toweling off down on the field. George, how hot is it?
Oh, you know, it's pretty warm down here, Jim, but it's pleasant with the warm. It's not as humid as it normally is in the stadium, and the players are not really sweating as hard as you think they would be. The temperature is pleasant, and it's a great day for football here in Texas Stadium.
I don't know what George's talking about. I don't know what atmosphere you're in down there, George. It must be treating you good down there. It's hot as a son of a gun up here.
George is so happy he doesn't have a helmet on anymore. They look like they're sweating up here, though, George. Cowboys take over on their 22. Carter's back to pass. He's got a receiver. He's found Joey Galloway. Gain of 16 on the play. James on the cover.
Yeah, James is calling for a push-off on that play. But, you know, Ismail is a guy that they feel that they have to get going. Been injured, came over big trade, and I'm sorry, Galloway, I should say, came over the big trade. And, you know, they have not been able to be a full-strength offense because he just hasn't been healthy. May have been a little push-off there, James losing his step more than anything else. But I really believe their secondary, Jim, their defensive secondary is probably the strongest part of this team right now.
Carter hands it off to Hambrick. He's been the workhorse here the first couple of series. Greg.
And now, at the beginning of the season, something you know they've been concentrating on, having a little trouble with the run early in the game. But now, you've got to get the quarterback down. Oh.
Carter chased, throws the ball, and we have a late flag in the backfield of the Cowboys. It was incomplete, intended for Thomas.
We got to hold it.
Boys, as he looks for.
You want to take it back? It'll be third down here, or we'll go back 10. It'll be third down here, or we'll go back 10. It'll be second down again. The 10-yard penalty. You want to go back? Okay. What's the number?
You're talking about being in the huddle, Jim. You're getting it all.
Beekert accepted the penalty there.
Holding. Dallas, number 42. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Spoken like an ex-defensive lineman.
I don't think Dave Campo agreed with you there. Second and 18.
Bias.
Here comes the blitz again. Beekert has a shot. Carter evades him. Puts a ice fake on. Nice play. As he's run out of bounds, 10 yards. For Carter on the carry there.
Now over the place, and you have to, you have to get him in.
A very appropriate line, Sean, down here in Texas. An okey doke. Carter on third down, throws it out. The pass is complete. Nice grab made by Keon Rambo. First down as he's pushed out of bounds by John on the gain of 18 yards. Nice play that time by Carter. Nice catch.
These very same Raiders just had a crazy day running all over the place and just giving them fits.
Why Campo loves him, because he says he can take something and make it nothing. He fumbles the snap, but fortunately it landed in the arms of Troy Hambrick. So the Cowboys get a break there as Rod Coleman was right there to stop him.
People are going to move the ball, Jim. They're going to move the ball, but how do you find ways to knock them out in certain situations?
That was Chris Cooper on the stop. Here comes Hambrick once again. On the 2nd and 13, he gains 4. That will bring up another third down, this time 3rd and 8. Brought down that time by Gerald Dixon. Quarter has now expired. We'll be back with the start of the second quarter. After 1, it's tied at 3. Welcome back to Texas Stadium. We begin the second quarter, and we have one of the great Cowboys of all time. He's also a Raider fan. The great Tony Dorsett is now joining us up here in the booth. Tony, pleased to have you with us. We need for you to put your headset on here so we can talk to you. Well, we know that you're a Raider fan because your son is the only number 33 who is allowed out here on the field.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm a
the only number 33 out on the field is your son,
Anthony Dorsett Jr. Yes, I am a fan of his.
Must mean you're a Raider fan. Quincy Carter makes the completion to Antonio Bryant. Tony, as being one of the greats here, you now come back to a place where you had so much success, and you see your son on the field. We take a look at Anthony right there with 70 tackles last year with the Raiders. What does it mean to you? Do you ever get used to the feeling of your son on the field?
I could say I am getting a little more comfortable seeing him out there on the football field. But, you know, to see where Anthony has come from, I know where he's come from, where he is today, and to see him develop into the athlete that he's become is quite an accomplishment on his part. But as a parent, I'm very happy for him.
As we look at Reggie Swinton take the completion from Quincy Carter. And Anthony was out there that time, Tony.
Anthony was out there. I would have liked to see him lay a little more wood on him at that time.
Officials are discussing it. They've now called it a touchdown. Indeed they have. Ed Ockley, 25-yard touchdown pass. Reggie Swinton and Quincy Carter. As we take a look at it again, Sean.
Yeah, Swinton's just going to get, it's a nice ball in terms of getting the ball out quickly. And you can tell that's something that they've definitely worked on. Just a great kind of effort trying to get the ball in.
Oh.
I don't know if he extended far enough. But it's preseason. Everybody's a little rusty.
Before he made it, as we see James trying to defend the pass.
Yeah.
Of course, the rule has changed this year, as you know. The pylon now is extended goal line. So if you touch the pylon, that's a touchdown. He didn't touch the pylon. Looked like his foot was out of bounds before the ball went over, but we will look now.
And we'll get a review.
And we will. Well,
stepped out of bounds. He stepped out of bounds.
He stepped out of bounds. He just turned it Hockley. Here's the official.
After reviewing the play, the runner's foot, his heel, came down out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Well, the ball was at the 2-yard line when he went out of bounds. Therefore, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down for Dallas. Please add 1 second to the clock. 1 second to the clock.
Try to make a call on a replay. What did you think about that whole?
You know, I've involved in sports and football for a very long time, and I was actually amazed at the call itself. You know, when you come up through Pop Warner all the way up to the professional rankings, a play like that is called a fumble. Was an exception of the NFL.
We're going to take a look at it right now. Tony, one of the most discussed plays in the history of the National Football League. There you see Charles Woodson Brady. And the old tuck rule, it featured falls on the ball. The whole world saw it. There you see the left hand the ball. And then Walt Coleman, to the dismay of football fans around the world, went over to the replay booth and reversed the decision that he had properly made on the field with the now infamous tuck rule.
Very
as we go to second goal. Pitch out. Trying to turn the corner is Michael Wiley. And now they've ruled that a touchdown. A late call. Well, that took an awful long time. Nope. But we will. Stay with us. 11th play of the drive. This time, no good again. Held by the Raider defense. Wiley rejected by DeLawrence Grant, the second-year man, and Napoleon Harris, the #1 draft pick of the Raiders this year. Another flag.
I think we're going to get number 33 on that one.
33.
Personal foul. Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
So you got to find the positives, Jim, in this whole mess right now.
Carter keeps looking. Penalty markers down. Touchdown is caught by Mike Lucky. But we'll see what this penalty brings. This will be the 4th straight play where there's been a penalty. Holding against the Raiders. Touchdown counts. Dallas on the board. They lead 9-3.
Oakland number 37. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Johnny Harris. Doesn't matter. Carter with a nice fake, Sean.
Yeah, and if you're the Raiders right now, you just have to be concerned.
Oh, that may be wanting to be replayed.
Goodness.
Why can't you?
They're ready to use their replay.
It was upheld. They can use it as many times as it's upheld. 2.5. But Bill Callahan has elected not to. Billy Cundiff gets the extra point. Touchdown stands. We'll take a look at the replay when we return. Cowboys lead 10-3.
You know, playing a lot more solid defense, even if it is. You have to be concerned about that right now.
Ned and Hill wait to return. Cundiff's kick. Puts a high ball into the air. Taken at the goal line. Ooh. Nice move to get away by Ned there. Struggle to bring it out to the 24-yard line. Raiders offense and Rich Gannon will try it again when we return. Here in the second quarter. Was in the game, went well, stalled out in the red zone. He will now be replaced by Marcus Tuiasosopo in his second year. Saw an awful lot of activity in the minicamp while Rich Gannon was holding out for a new contract. There you take a look at just exactly what he did at the University of Washington, where he was a stellar performer in winning the Rose Bowl. And Sean Tuiasosopo, whose father played over at San Francisco, the Raiders look to as the future quarterback.
Yeah, Tui, you mentioned it, Jim, got a lot of reps in the preseason or pre-camp, training camp, and pre-draft work. And the flag comes flying in.
There's a late flag. But Barlow was the intended receiver, and the flag is going to be on Jason Bell for jumping over his back.
And the reason for that, Jim, though, is that with Gannon being out, he got a chance to take all the reps. I mean, he got a chance to lead that football team, call signals, guys to respond to him. And, you know, even though you have a great leader like Gannon, sometimes you just need to be out on your own just a little bit so the guys get their respect for you, because at some point he will take this team over in the Raiders' eyes, and you want to respect or at least get accustomed
There's
to
no
being in that
foul for
position.
pass interference on the play, although the hand was on the hip, didn't materially affect the player. Therefore, no foul, incomplete pass, second down.
Now,
Okay.
I tell you what, I like that call because but I want him to make that call during the season. I want him to have enough chutzpah during a playoff game to make a call like that. If it doesn't affect the play, it should be a call. And there are too many times when you see incidental contact going down the field that has nothing to do with the play and they throw the flag anyhow. So if they're going to call like that this season, that's fine. But it has to be consistent.
Yasosopo hands the ball off to Randy Jordan, spins away from one tackler, and is brought down by Evans and Frisch combined. As we take a look at Randy Jordan, 9-year man from North Carolina, was with the Raiders in Los Angeles, went on to Jacksonville, now back once again with the Raiders. I think that Rich Gannon paid the highest compliment to Tuiasosopo that he could, as he said, a lot of young guys will not listen.
Yeah.
He will. A great compliment from the 15-year man. Here's Tuiasosopo. Back in the pocket, has a man wide open. He connects. Catch is made by Roland Williams. And that's a big gain. 21 yards.
And Roland Williams, I mean, it's like every play it seems like they're getting together talking about something. I guess what you
Offside,
preseason game.
Dallas, number 94. The penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
But Roland Williams has a great story. You know, came in from the Rams after they won the Super Bowl and just has a great attitude. Takes nothing for granted. He's a guy hooping and hollering during practice, screaming, yelling, egging on the defense, you know, to try to make a play against him, and really believes that in this offense, with the great wide receivers they already have, he can be a go-to guy, you know, from the tight end position. The Raiders have always had great tight
Penalty, and then went over to the referee, and the referee Hockley
you're hitting on it, Jim. You know, when they talk about Tuiasosopo, you'll hear leadership and you'll hear maturity. So, you know, so synonymous with what he's done in just 2 short years here.
Handoff to Jordan. Flags again, and it's now becoming a parade of flags. It's going to be offsides. Looked like 94, Mike Myers. Not the movie star, but the football player. Jumped
Offside,
off.
Dallas, number 94. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Do well. Of course, he's from Alabama, almost about as far away as you can get from that English accent as well. Tuiasosopo picks up the blitz. Jordan spins away, stays on his feet, gains 2. Let's take a look at the Coliseum up in Oakland, what Tuiasosopo was able to do against the Cowboys. And this was quite a play for him. Nice pump fake, Sean.
And that was his first game as a Raider preseason. Into the Cowboys now, Kenyon Rambo. But it just shows the kind of play calling. You'll see the pump fake there first. I mean, that's the thing that I know guys that are in the league 7 years, they don't know how to look a guy off and pump fake and get the ball downfield. Very mature young man.
Here's Randy Jordan again. Feet, and he's got the first down. Randy Jordan, bobbing, weaving, and spinning. He reminds you of another Jordan from UNC?
Yeah, Wheatley. Wheatley's out today. Randy Jordan, when you talk about going away from your starters and getting some quality time for young guys, well, he's their young guy. He's the only young guy he has to tote the load.
Once again, Yasosopo has a man.
Oh!
This time, Jerry Porter unable to hold on to it. catchable ball.
No, that's a ball that Porter is going to kick himself in the head. He's supposed to bring that ball and tap his feet, and that should be a completion. And as a young player, you have to look for that consistency, especially when you're playing behind guys like Jerry Rice and Tim Brown. Now, Tuiasosopo may have led him just a little bit too much, but that's a catchable ball. You either lay out for it or you haul that ball and tap, get your feet in.
Number 86, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
For the team, he said selfishly, it helped me, but I'm for the team.
Yeah.
The team comes first here. I know my role, but he wasn't an awful lot of reps in. And he said it helped him, and now he sees something he doesn't like, and he'll take time out. Smith sitting this one out. A lot of his linemen are injured. Tuiasosopo on 1st and 15. Tuiasosopo drops it off to Randy Jordan. He scampers across. Gain of 7. Brought down by Tony Dixon.
And Tony, I have to ask you this question. So much is being made of the transition from a guy like Emmitt Smith to a Hamburg. And you had the misfortune, I thought, but because I grew up as a Cowboy fan, I wouldn't tell anyone that.
You just did. You just did, John.
No one's listening. But you ended your career not with a star on your helmet.
Yeah.
And now they're talking that may be the very same fate that befalls a guy like Emmitt Smith. What are your thoughts on that?
As a Cowboy fan and an ex-Cowboy, I would hate to see that happen. When I look at my particular scenario and I go back from this vantage point, if I had to do it all over again, Sean, not good.
Right.
I mean, Emmitt Smith has meant so much to the Dallas Cowboys, let alone the National Football League, and to see him become the all-time leading rusher in NFL history and have to finish his career somewhere else, in my opinion, is somewhat disgraceful. It's almost, I guess, the common day terms or scenarios is like a Michael Jordan going to Washington to become a Wizard. I mean, we're going to always remember Emmitt Smith as a Dallas Cowboy, regardless of what he does from this year forward.
9th play of the drive. The Raiders started all the way back on their 24 line, and this time we're going to have a false start. Langston Walker has been sensational in camp. The rookie.
Before the ball was snapped, ball start. Oakland, number 66, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
For players, when they're getting their big paydays and a $10 million due to Emmitt Smith, it's very difficult to justify that at this age for his productivity.
Absolutely, and you would think a guy that has been around as long as he has may consider taking a pay cut. I mean, to the real world.
Tuiasosopo, a couple of nice moves as he tries to scamper. Looks like he's going to come up just about a yard short, about a 12-yard run. He needed 13. Depends on the mark. Jamal Brooks pushed him out of bounds, or at least caused him to get off balance. One thing he can do is make something out of nothing, Sean.
Yeah, Tuiasosopo does a good job here looking down the field. And he actually went through each of his progressions before he decided to use his feet to make something happen. That's what you like to see in a young player, going through the progression. And if you have to, the escapability, doing a nice job getting the ball and getting some positive yards out of a play that could have been really, really ugly. But I didn't see it.
Well, that brings Janikowski back out onto the field. That was the original thought. This will be a 52-yarder. He only missed 5 all of last season, hitting him at 92% in training camp. This is a good test. Ball is down. Kick is on its way. And it's off wide to the right. So Janikowski misses from 50.
Good. The ball returns to the spot of the kick. First down.
Way it used to be. How about that pass? How about that pass? Hey.
Not bad.
Yeah.
He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. From 77 to 87 as we take a look at the current Cowboys are back on the field. Right now, a big play is being broken by Ray. Cut back across the field. Big gain for Swinton. 33 yards.
Come back to Texas. I like to be a part of your show.
You know, let me ask you a question. How is it you can stand out here and don't sweat? I mean, you've got this Ronald Reagan thing. You've got some kind of metabolism here. I don't know what's going on. You never see you sweat.
You become acclimated after a few years.
Tony, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
As the Cowboys continue after the big play by Swinton, Michael Wiley on the carry there. The great Tony Dorsett. What a treat, Sean, to have a legend like that join us in the booth. And of course, he will be following the Raiders closely as they progress throughout the season.
Well, this drive, Jim, has been a surprise drive just by virtue of the fact that we haven't seen that many flags in this drive. I mean, it's just
It's like 3 plays in a row.
oh,
Carter finds a gap, puts a move on, down to the 10, and he'll run out of bounds. In pursuit. To Lawrence Grant, 13-yard gain.
player, and I don't think he understand enough how hard it is to prepare for a guy that can make plays with his arm as well as his feet.
Hambrick with the carry. Gains a couple, but we have a penalty marker. That's a surprise.
I spoke too soon.
Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb up here joining us in the booth. Had his work cut out for him, not keeping yardage of the guys, but keeping yardage of the penalties. Against the Raiders.
Holding defense, number 99. A half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
Josh Taves called for holding. Quincy Carter having a big quarter and a half. 88 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 for 9. 2 rushes for 23 yards. Criticized heavily in the newspaper today. Down in Dallas is not being the guy who the fans, it seems, or maybe even the organization,
Right.
maybe they're Chad Hutchinson, who we'll see in the second half, maybe the guy, but he's proven so far this evening to be effective. The Raiders look like they come offside. Free play for the Cowboys. Ball tossed up in the air, batted away and caught out of bounds. Keon Rambo catches the ball, but Clarence Love is the man who was able to knock it away.
The pass is incomplete, caught out of bounds. Defense number 95 offside. Half the distance to the goal. It's still first down.
Lawrence Grant this time jumping off. Just got a little ahead. Tried to get back. It's hard. It's hard to, once you've pulled the trigger,
Yeah.
it's hard to stop the bullet, isn't it, John?
And it's not what you want to see in your team so far. It's been a very sloppy game with both teams. What you would expect in a first preseason game. Not what you want, but you can expect it, and you just have to find a way to correct it.
Here's Hambrick, and he's got it in for the touchdown. Signal late. Touchdown, Cowboys. Long drive, of course. The big play by Reggie Swinton. 2-yard run. Now 13-3, 16-3. The Cowboys with the touchdown and a chance to tack one on for a 2-touchdown lead. As we take a look at the hole right there, I'm not so sure he was in. Take a look at that replay. 4 plays, 58 yards, and they're going to let that one stand. Cedar with the extra point, alternating with Cundiff. Dallas has been on the field 3 times, 3 drives, 3 scores, 17 points. Referee's placement there. Janikowski is forced to kick from 52 yards instead of 4th and inches. Big play by Swinton.
The placement was huge. That's a questionable call, and you just have to ask yourself. It's just preseason.
Madre Hill still on his feet, and here it's raining penalty flags. Yellow is the color of the day, as we see about 12 of them out on the field. So everybody saw the same thing, and the star of our show, Ed Hockley, come on camera once again and explain just exactly what's gone wrong on the field.
Holding Oakland during the return, number 34. 10-yard penalty. Oakland keeps the ball, first down.
Yeah, it's preseason. That call in New England, and there was so much resentment about that call. You had players walking out of an official meeting. The Raider players walked out of an official meeting last week. It just shows you that the Raiders are not going to get any calls this year. It doesn't really make a difference. If they're going to win the whole thing, Jim, and put themselves in a position where they're champions again, they're going to have to do it internally and do it as a team, because you're not going to get any help from the ref. Not that, that you expect, but that, you always get questionable calls against you. And it's just a part of, the history of this organization.
Reggie Barlow on a nice pass from Tuiasa Sopo. Gains 16 yards, 18 yards. First down.
That's wide open. That's wide open.
Here comes Barlow once again. Got a lot of running room, and he's chased out of bounds on the play by Roy Williams. Nice play, gain of 19 for the Raiders. So back-to-back successive plays and no penalty flags. That one will stand.
No, Reggie Barlow, when you look at the scouting report on players in the league, everyone gets a scouting report on players. And on Reggie Barlow, you'll always see tremendous yak. That means yards after the catch. So if you got a guy like that on your offense, you get him the ball any way you can. A Pro Bowl in previous years when he was with Jacksonville as a kick returner. Nice job on the, looks like
the man falls down. We'll have another penalty. Play was broken up by number 33 of the Cowboys, Jason Bell. But we're going to have a penalty on the play. Matthew Hatchett was the intended receiver for the Raiders, and they'll discuss it once again.
Okay, you got DPI and you got offensive illegal formation. Okay, I'm going to give a preliminary first. I got it here, and I got here. Now give me the numbers.
We're going to have offsetting penalties.
I'm going to do.
There were fouls by both. Illegal formation. Number 66, Oakland, lined up in the backfield. There was also pass interference. Dallas, number 33. The penalty's offset. Replay first down.
Well, that's a new rule this year. Langston Walker is flagged on the penalty. And the officials, and we can discuss this at length, came to camp. It's one of the new rules, but you must line up. There is no space anymore for the offensive lineman to try and take that little step back or be just off the line to gain an advantage. But by the same token, the defensive player can no longer line up in the zone trying to get his inches back on the advantage. So,
and as we mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of the Raider players walked out of that officiating meeting, so he probably missed that one. But Langston Walker is a big guy. I mean, he could line up on the line of scrimmage and still be in the backfield. You know, 6'7".
Sopo, little pump there. Ball is knocked away. Batted from behind. And we have a special guest. Jerry Rice, soon to be 40 years old, is with George Atkinson. George?
Okay, I'm here with Jerry Rice. Jerry, 18th season. Talk to us, man. What's your secret to longevity?
Just hard work. You know, just going out there every day and just putting the time in, building the foundation. And, you know, I'm still running with the young guys. I feel good out there. I'm having a great time. The only thing I hate exhibition season. Because you only get, you know, a couple plays and, you know, just get your feet wet, then you're out of the ball game.
You know, Coach Callahan just took over. What's the difference that you see between he and Gruden?
Well, I think Bill is going to do a fantastic job for us. He's very composed. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And, you know, we're going to go out there. He's going to put us in position to win, but it's going to be up to the players to make the plays. So we're very excited about the opportunity also. His demeanor is a little different from John Gruden. You know, John is always up in your face, but, you know, Bill is going to get the job done.
Man, thanks for your time. Good luck for the rest of the season. Back to you, Jim.
The great Jerry Rice.
After the incomplete pass, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, Dallas, number 34. 15-yard penalty, first down.
In the preseason game, what a nut.
Just speaks to his work ethic. Blitz by Dallas, gotten away by Sopo. Nice play is Hatchett as he moves forward on first down, gain of about 6 yards. Jamal Brooks put the hit on Sopo on the blitz.
Yeah, the blitz comes from the inside. And you see Hatchett running the route here, just in and out. And Sopo does a good job of throwing the ball where Hatchett is supposed to be. That ball comes out with tremendous pressure right up his face.
When a guy doesn't fasten his chin strap as a receiver, is that like an indication they're supposed to block on the play?
I think that'd be a key breaker.
Nice decoy by Hatchett. Terry Kirby on the carry, brought down by Evans. Demetric Evans from Georgia.
Different things on a football field, but you always want to have a guy that can make a difference, that has the football IQ, knows where to go with the football. If a blitz is coming in his face, know to get the ball to the right receiver. Like I said, that was a blind pass in that last play. Get the ball out, and that was an ugly pass.
Third and 2. Hatchett fell down, it appeared. Hatchett fell down as the ball was being delivered to him on 3rd and 2, and
Are they really executing? That's what you're trying to get out of these preseason games, because a lot of these guys are going to be your filler guys. They're going to be your guys that can run down on special teams. How are they picking up a playbook that we've tried to install for the past 4 months?
Janikowski now from 39 yards. It's good. He's 2 of 3 on the evening, 1 from 29, now from 39. The Raiders have crawled back to within 11 points. They trail 17-6 with 3 minutes and 18 seconds left at halftime. By the way, at halftime, I spoke just before the game to Cowboy owner Jerry Jones.
Situation in Oakland, it just puts you in an enviable position when you come to Dallas and you look at what they've been able to accomplish, and you have a similar organization, the Raiders, and haven't been able to accomplish the same things off the field in terms of revenue streams.
Janikowski kicks the ball out of bounds. Rambo lets it go out of bounds. Another penalty. Cowboys B. They look at it, so they tell us, Dave Campo, that this could be a turning year like 1990. How good do you think they can be with Quincy Carter? Are they a 500 team or better?
Well, this way, they'll go as far as their defense takes them. You know, I think they have quality defense. I think their team speed on defense has increased probably, 6, 7, 8-fold from last year. And if their defense can stay stout and get after the quarterback and
Holding Dallas, number 44, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Robert Thomas on the hold, Tony Taylor on the carry. Let's take a look at just exactly what the Cowboys have done. Leroy Glover comes over, Kevin Hardy, Bryant Westbrook, Chad Hutchinson quits baseball. We'll see him in the second half. And of course, the tight end Tony McGee comes over from Cincinnati with Bruce Coslett, where he was with him for 9 years. So they've added some tremendous talent to their team, Sean.
Yeah, and as long as their defense, like I was saying, put themselves in a situation where they can control the negative plays that the offense may put them in, I think they have a good shot of contending in their division, because the only clear-cut team in that division are the Eagles.
Well, right now out on the field, we're talking a lot about Quincy Carter. Tuiasa Sopo for the Raiders. Be interesting to hear what Rich Gannon, the Raiders starting quarterback, thinks about all of this. He's with George Atkinson right now. George?
Yes, Jim. After the Raiders' two-time All-Pro quarterback, Rich Gannon. Rich, you were in one series. You were 4 for 6. Pretty productive for a short time.
Yeah, we moved the ball pretty good down there, and we just got down the red zone. We had a couple mistakes, and we just couldn't finish the drive. Though, but pretty good work for the first unit, and just got to cheer these guys on now, see if we can't get out of it with a win.
You got Jerry Porter, added addition, look like he's coming through. How important will he be to the offense this year?
He's going to be a big part of our success. He really came on strong last year. He was a real productive guy, and big play potential, and you saw some of that tonight.
Thanks, Rich. All right, Jim.
Rich Gannon with George Atkinson. We're at the 2-minute warning.
If you drive a truck, know this. For almost 30 years, the Bay Area have been saving money on their truck parts and truck repairs at the Ford.
That game will be on ESPN. Raiders have 2 minutes and a half left in this game. They trail the Cowboys 17-6. Jim Gray, Sean Jones, George Atkinson from Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Tim Brown watching on. Big third down here for the Raiders. 3rd and 14 for the Cowboys. Raiders have allowed Dallas to convert 3 out of 4 third down so far in the game. Carter looking incomplete, intended for Bryant, and Jennings was the cover.
And that's a good no call. You see defensive back looking back. Whenever you're looking back, and if there isn't any contact, they're not going to call the PI on that, the pass interference. So you see the defensive back looking back on that.
The night. Philip Buchanan is back, #1 draft choice out of Miami. He really lit it up at Miami, returning kick. Micah Knorr puts it high into the air. Buchanan awaits it, takes it at the 18. Looks for an opening. Still on his feet. Broke a couple tackles. Penalty marker down. Impressive play by Buchanan. But a penalty marker back on the 21-yard line. He has a big smile on his face. And well, he should. His first return will be back, but impressive nonetheless. 44-yard punt by Knorr. 32-yard return, but it's coming back. I don't know.
During the return, holding Oakland, number 41. 10-yard penalty. Oakland keeps the ball, first down.
Trying to feel his way around, trying to find his niche a little bit. Last 7, 8 practices, he's just been coming on.
Tuiasosopo dumps it off. He is nailed by Mike Myers. Nice play by Myers. 5th-year player. 6'2", 285 pounds, and Jordan feels it all. Or both.
I don't know, but I tell you what. Every time you say Mike Myers, I think of Fat Bastard.
Here comes the blitz again. Picked up nicely by the Raiders. Hatchett on the completion. Nice catch. Pushed out of bounds after a gain of 12 yards and a...
Had the blitz pick up, and Hatchett's able to bring the ball in. And one of the hardest things for a rookie or young running back, I should say, is the blitz pickup when he gets into the NFL. Jordan is obviously not a young running back, but you hate to have your second-string quarterback, who is one play away from being in the game, out there with guys that can't pick up the blitz. On that last play, Jordan was able to pick up the blitz.
Hurry up offense. Hatchett again, taken down by Westbrook. 2nd and 8. Tuiasosopo dumps it off once again. Jordan taken down by Westbrook. Same play, different tune. Larger gain. Clock running down. 50 seconds now left in the half. Raiders trying to add to their 6 points.
And no matter what the outcome is, up his drive.
Oh, wide open.
Wide open.
Jeremy Brigham is taken down after being all alone by Keith Davis. Nice play by the Raiders there. 33-yard game.
Now,
that's Washington to Washington. The two were teammates together playing at the university. Jeremy Brigham.
Jamal Brooks for the Cowboys.
But so be it. They come to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from the 19. 28 seconds left. Raiders with no timeouts. Tuiasosopo. A lot of people in the pattern. Throws the ball behind Zach Crockett. Incomplete. And that was really his first bad pass. Penalty marker down. And it's going to be another Raider penalty.
Yeah, the flag's just been flying. We'll hear what...
Illegal formation.
Okay.
Oakland, number 66, lined up in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Right down here. Asking a photographer with his son, talking to him. Wanting to get a photo.
You know, actually,
his son down on the sideline.
This is how I would have done it. I wouldn't have gotten thrown out because I wouldn't have pushed anybody. That's what Dad is saying to son. You know, that's got to be special to have a son, a legacy in this league. And Dorsett's making a name for himself also.
Penalty marker once again. Tuiasosopo takes it upfield, trying to get out of bounds, and does so at about the 10-yard line. That'll be close to a first down, but we'll check out once again in the Raider backfield. What did you say? You're brushing up on your Yiddish this year? It's the second time you've come up with a...
Illegal motion. Oakland, number 28 and number 17 were both moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty, receive first down.
Season at full strength, but you also want to try to execute. You can't execute when you have this many flags flying around.
14 seconds left. Tuiasosopo up in the air looking for Hatchett. Makes the grab, but he's out of bounds. Defender Westbrook.
Off of an injury and starting your first game on a turf field, that can't be a good combination.
Told us he was slowly coming back. Shouldn't have come back so soon last year. Hasn't really been the same player now. With 7 seconds left, the Raiders will take a crack at the end zone. Ball is put up in the air, and it is almost caught on the rebound by Jordan. Went off Hatchett with 1 second left. They get a break on the clock there.
Slapping the clock management right now. They should be out right now. Kill the clock guy.
7-yard field goal. And this would bring the Raiders to within 8. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion within range for the second half. Here's Janikowski's kick. On the way. No good. Wide to the right, so Janikowski makes two, misses two. Two misses from 47, one from 52. Let's go down to George Atkinson.
All right, Jim. Well, I'm here with Coach Callahan. Coach, you completed your first half of play as the Raiders' new head coach. Give us an assessment.
Well, defensively, we got to do a better job containing the quarterback. They ended up with a couple big plays early in the half, and they hurt us on a reverse after that fourth down decision on the penalty. But offensively, we moved the ball. We just got to punch it in the zone a little bit quicker.
Thank you, Coach. All right, Jim.
And I'm sure, Sean, they'll be discussing some of the penalties at halftime as well. Raiders trail 17-6. Back with Jerry Jones when we return at half from Texas Stadium. Turnovers for either team. All four of the Raider possessions ended, Sean, in field goal attempts.
Yeah, and you like the opportunity that you're going to score points, but you like to be able to punch the ball in the end zone. As a defense, if you're holding teams to field goals, you feel like you should be able to win that football game. So the Raiders love the fact that they're getting opportunities, but would like to get in the red zone and like to get in the end zone.
Billy Cundiff will kick it off to Madre Hill, and Larry Ned set to receive for the Raiders. We'll have the ball here to start the second half. Comes down to Hill, sees a gap, still take it down at the 32-yard line. Let's go down to George Atkinson.
You know, guys, I talked to Coach Bresnahan about the defense giving up 17 points, and he put it very simply. I asked him what was wrong with the defense. He said that they need to make plays. He said that they're stumbling, bumbling around. They're not making tackles. They're getting opportunities, but they need to make plays, simply put. Back to you, Jim.
Well, George, indeed they do. Simply stated, maybe more difficult to try and obtain.
And when you hear your coach saying that, you know, guys are in position to make plays, but they're not making it, it tells you, Jim, that they're not getting off of blocks. You stand your man up, you get off a block, you get to the ball carry, and you put them down. And when you get yourself in a position where you're tied up, or you're paralysis by analysis, they call it, you're not making plays. You create those vertical talk about, and they're running up and down the field. And Dallas had 16 rushes for 103 yards, 6.4 yards a pop. That's not winning football, Jim.
Tuiasa Sopo 9 for 17. That one was batted away by Willie Blade. Second down and 10. Bunch of changes, and we'll go through them for the Cowboys as well as for the Raiders here as we start the second half. Two men in motion, and Tuiasa Sopo now takes a timeout. In that instance, is it best to take a timeout or take the 5-yard penalty?
Well, in this situation, you take the timeout. It's a preseason game. Always down in distance. Always what's going on in the field dictates when you're going to use your timeout. But that's one of those Homer Simpson. You know, you look over there, you see your quarterback motioning to you to move, and it's always the person off the line of scrimmage who's going to be your motion guy, or you have to switch positions where you back up, because that's the only person that can really move in motion. He confused that in the motion, and that's what happened in that play.
Raiders will continue after this timeout. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And now, Billy Sardell.
Here in Hawaii, well,
Dallas off in the foreground there. The background, however, as we come inside Texas Stadium. Madre Hill shifts out of the backfield. Marcus Tuiasa Sopo. Reggie Barlow goes into motion. Looks one way, throws the other. Has a man. Madre Hill. Hill is tackled by Derek Ross. Gain of about 6 yards.
Now they list Madre Hill as a running back. He was an exciting player over in NFL Europe. And what he gives you those Charlie Garner type down. Even though he's a running back, you can split him out as a wide receiver. Runs nice routes, has soft hands. Flexibility of Callahan's offense. He wants to give you multiple sets and wants to be able to get the ball in as many players' hands as possible, playmakers' hands.
Tuiasa Sopo sees a big hole right up the center of the field, slides to the 47-yard line, picks up the first down, gain of 14.
And that's we'll joke about it time and time again, but just teaching a young quarterback to slide is a chore in itself. And Tuiasa Sopo obviously has learned that from the great Rich Gann. Some of these young guys, they feel that they're still playing the East-West Shrine game. They just get knocked out of the football game. You have to learn how to slide in this league.
Larry Ned turns the corner. Gains about 6 yards where he's tackled by Dwayne Goodrich from Tennessee. Larry Ned from San Diego State University. You know, he finished second all-time, Sean, to the leader. He had some impressive numbers. The only man who had better numbers in the history of his school, Marshall Faulk.
Yeah, just a tremendous, productive athlete in college, and it's been a constant theme for the Raiders in their training camp. They want to have guys that are productive, that have had some level of success at different levels of sport.
This time, he is met by a host of tacklers. Ross was the first to get there. Ned dropped for a loss of 1. Set up a 3rd and 4. Now 3rd and 5 as they mark the ball. Larry Ned, Melvin Barnett now make up the Raider backfield. Barnett from Baylor, signed as a free agent. Raiders on 3rd down so far, just 3 of 6. Ball put up in the air, floats a little. That may have been tapped at the line. Was looking for Hatchett, but that one either got away from her, or was it tapped at the line there, Sean?
I think it was tapped, Jim, but that ball needed to be thrown away. I think it's just throwing the ball away because there was no one open.
Okay. Shane Leckler, we haven't seen him since last January. Comes out onto the field. Second best punter in the NFL, 46.2 yard average, his first punt on the evening.
And belaboring a point, if you haven't seen your punter for an entire half, you figure you'd have more points than the Raiders have right now. So like we said earlier, they are moving the football, but you just like to see more productivity in the end zone than they've had so far.
Swinton back, this one goes. And it's waved as a touchback. This time he didn't get it within the 20, 43-yard punt. Dallas will have the ball when we return. Cowboys Chad Hutchinson, an interesting story. Played baseball for 4 years in the organization of the St. Louis Cardinals. Moved up with the Cardinals. Then this year decided to come back to football. Has not played football in 4 years. The Bay Area fans will be very familiar with him. He played at Stanford. Hasn't thrown in 4 years. Signed this year a 7-year contract for $3.1 million. And the people down here have been very impressed, Dave Campo, Jerry Jones, and everybody, with the way he has performed so far. He gets his first game action. Run by Tony Taylor. We're going to run from the booth down to George Atkinson. George?
All right. I'm here with Timmy Brown, veteran wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders. 15th year, man. Talk about the longevity that you got. I mean, what is it that you still here 15 years?
Georgie, first of all, man, I'm just blessed, man. God has really been good to me over my career. And, you know, I just try to take care of myself. You know, I think, you know, not starting a couple of years ago, I tried to start, you know, 10, 12 years ago when I first got in the league, taking care of myself. And I think things are just paying off for me now.
Let's talk about Coach Callahan and what he brings to the table. You've been around him for a few years. Now he's a head coach. Let's talk about his ability as a leader and a head coach.
Well, you know, I think he has for this team. You know, we don't need a screamer and a yeller. You know, we just need somebody to put us in the right position and let us go play football. And I think that's what he's going to do. You know, we have such a veteran team. You don't need a lot of motivational speeches and that kind of stuff. You just need to get your practice time and go in and do what you have to do on game day. And that's what he allows us to do. He's a very intense coach, more intense than the other coach we had, believe it or not, in a lot of different ways. And I think he's going to work out great for us.
You know, you guys had a meeting with the officials in camp. Some of the guys walked out. You think that will affect you during the season as far as calls are concerned?
Hey, we get bad calls anyway, man. You know, I mean, my 15 years in the league, you know, we've gotten horrible calls the whole time. And that was the only bullet we had to shoot, and we shot the bullet. Obviously, we can't do anything else, any more protests, anything of that nature. We got to go play football. But as far as we were concerned, we weren't going to get any calls anyway, and we know that. We just got to win football games without it.
Man, thanks for your time, Timmy. Right, Jim, back to you.
Thank you, George. Well, he raises a very interesting point. And the story a couple of weeks ago as we see Hutchinson throwing a long ball. Of course, he's got a great arm as a baseball player. Pass was intended for Bryant. But, Sean, the Raiders elected the majority of them, with the exception of some rookies and Rich Gannon, to walk out on Mike Greer and the officiating crew, which came to visit them some 8 or 9 days ago in Napa. What is your feeling about that, and what do you think the team accomplished by doing that?
I think they sent a message to the referees that they are not over what happened. You know, they had, like Tim said, one bullet to shoot in their gun. They shot it to let everyone know what their thought process was about the call, and hopefully everybody understands that. You know, and I thought it was a horrible call. You know, I played in the league 13 years, had one opportunity to go to a Super Bowl, played the Super Bowl, lucky enough to win it. You know, you have a guy like Timmy on the team that's been here 15 years, hasn't gotten a chance to get to the Super Bowl. You know, last year was an excellent opportunity for that football team to get into the Super Bowl and see it robbed. You have to take a stance. I think it was mild by some of the Raiders teams that I played on. I mean, it would have been sheer hell in that room with some of the guys that I played with. So I think they did a respectful thing by walking away instead of making it an ugly scene, and hopefully the refs understand that, you know, this is serious business out here, and you can't come up with interpretation of rules in the middle of the game that just make absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I commend them for their restraint, to be honest with you. But he said something about Callahan in that interview, Jim, that you'll hear a lot of these guys talk about, his demeanor and his personality. You know, when I played with the Raiders back in '84, you always, you know, you're in trouble when a game animal starts with "when I played." It shows you his age, first of all. But when I was with the Raiders, you know, the focus on the Raiders was the silver and black and the commitment to excellence. Well, over a period of time, the 4 years that John Gruden was here, the focus kind of shifted to John Gruden. Such a strong personality. I think with his departure now the focus goes back to this team, and truly a leader in Coach Callahan that can, like Tim said, just put him in the right position, let the players play, and get the, you know, not that it was a negative that Coach Gruden was here, but I think now the focus of this football team will be back to the tradition that the Raiders have always had.
Tony Taylor once again carried the ball last play. Once again, he picks up the first down, and this is what the Raiders got in return for John Gruden moving on to Tampa Bay. First they get Bill Callahan, moves up, but they get 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick. A first-round pick came in this year, first-round pick in 2003, a second-round pick in 2004, and $8 million to pay for those picks.
And everyone always talk, when you talk about compensation for a player, people always looked at a Herschel Walker deal that basically built this Dallas Cowboy football team. And when you look at the numbers that the Raiders were able to away from Tampa for John Gruden, my goodness, I think in the long
unprecedented
run,
really, Sean, unprecedented.
Yeah, John Gruden is an excellent football coach, don't get me wrong, but that was a king's ransom, a firstborn, a dowry, whatever else you want to call it, that they got for him. So it turned out to be a great deal for the Raiders.
Another interesting point on the Gruden situation, he has not spoken to any of the Raider players since his departure. And he had told the Raider players, many of them, that he expected and was planning on returning. He also has not spoken, according to Bill Callahan, who told us today, not spoken to him since he left. Taylor again for the 4th or 5th time in a row, now carrying the ball. Do you find that all odd? I know that Gruden has said, and the Bucs, that they were fearful of tampering, but it seems to me that he had a long-term relationship with a lot of these guys, and he owed them a telephone call, particularly the Jerry Rices, the Tim Browns, the people of the Rich Gannons, the people who he was very close to and of this sort. And there certainly wouldn't have been any tampering charges filed by the Raiders. That's normal human interaction.
I think people, you know, handle breakups differently, and obviously John chose that road. See this play here.
The Tony Taylor drive continues. Philip Buchanan drags him down. Taylor, a workhorse on this drive. It started all the way back on the 20, and Hutchinson in his first drive as a professional football player, very composed, dumping the ball off, looking around, very comfortable, Sean.
Yeah, Hutchinson, if you look at the prototypical guy at quarterback, he would be it. And, you know, the Cowboys are surprised of all the brouhaha people are making about the fact that, you know, they went after Hutchinson. Well, You drafted kid Quincy Carter last year. That was controversial because some people thought that he should have been a latter round pick, and you anoint him your quarterback of the future. You go after you get Ryan Leaf. Then in the offseason you get Hutchinson. Some people see that as a lack of confidence in Carter.
Hutchinson again try and find Scott Zimmerman, who's converted from a linebacker to fullback, and the ball goes on the ground. Zimmerman does as well.
But you know, the Cowboys do have a precedent for this.
Perryman, the injured Raider.
Yeah, well.
Raymond Perryman, first-year man, North Carolina, 1-year experience, 23 years old. Didn't see what happened to him, Sean, but they seem to be working on his right leg.
Coming from all over the place to twist things up a bit under there, but he was able to get off the field, and that's always a positive thing to see.
More than 7 minutes into this drive, the 13th play, and hit in the background, in the backfield is Tony Taylor by Bobby Brooks. Bobby Brooks, 240-pounder, Fresno State in his 3rd year.
That was a nice little stick. You know, when you're playing linebacker, you're coming downhill. You always hear running backs run downhill, run downhill. As a linebacker, you have to do the same thing. You attack downhill, try to catch him in the V in the neck. And that could have been X, Y, Z, but that was definitely in the V in the neck that Bobby caught him on that last play.
3rd down and 4 from the 10-yard line. Ball put up in the air, some pushing going on. Buchanan looks like he's picked it off. We'll wait for the official touchback. Interception. Philip Buchanan is first in the National Football League in the preseason.
And Buchanan, you'll see when we get the replay, you couldn't have had better position than Buchanan had in that last play. And the reason, you'll see some bumping going on, but the reason that there was a no call because Buchanan has just as much right to that football as a receiver. Good position here, watching it. As soon as his eyes grows, he turns around, looks for the ball. Great position, ball game.
This is why the Raiders moved up twice to get him in the draft. Philip Buchanan, his first interception, Raider ball.
You are seeing is the crash of TWA flight.
Going some considerable pain. George Atkinson will check with the Raider training staff, and we'll bring you a report when we know his condition. Rick Myrer now in the ball game. 10th year in the NFL, signed as a free agent this year.
Ball start, Oakland, number 61. 5-yard penalty, it's still first down.
And you know, in that last drive by the Cowboys, it seems like the Raiders defense is still having some problems getting the Cowboys offense off the field. That drive was well over 7 minutes and 13 plays. You just can't have drives like that in the NFL now. The result was fantastic. That's truly bend but don't break, you know, and getting a pick.
Myrer puts it up looking for Hatchett. He overthrew him. Myrer, of course, a storied college career at Notre Dame. Came into professional football, had a good year with Coach Tom Flores in Seattle. Moved around quite a bit since then. Chicago, Green Bay, the Jets, San Francisco. Was the 2nd pick in the draft back in 10 years ago. Bill Walsh, the time that he was drafted, felt that he would be as good as Joe Montana. Just hasn't quite worked out that well for Rick Myrer.
Well, he
now gets a shot here with the Raiders.
Yeah, he was in that draft. He and Bledsoe, you know, much ballyhooed coming out. Who was going to be the better pro? And if you look at the 2 careers early, it looked like Myrer was going to have the better career. And I think probably one of the most important position, if not the most important position in the NFL, is a quarterback coach. And you see a lot of these young kids now going over to NFL Europe. I would definitely...
Holding Oakland, number 70. The penalty is declined. It brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, the powers that be that send players over to NFL Europe, they should definitely make, if you're going to send a quarterback over there, that is with a good quarterback coach, because it can definitely make or break a career.
13th Raider penalty. Tuiasa Sopo finishes the night 10 for 19, 122 yards. Is now 3rd down and 13 for the Raiders. Myrer dumps it off to Barnett, takes it out to the 21, and he is brought down to bring up a 4th down. Let's go down to George Atkinson with an update. George?
Guys, the early report on Raymond Perriman is that he has a sprained ankle. The doctors are optimistic that that's all it is because there's no early swelling. However, they took him in for an X-ray. When I get further updated on Perriman's condition, I'll let you know.
Okay, George. We await that. Shane Leckler now into the game, punting to Keon Rambo. Former Raider. Low kick. Takes it at the 35, picks up a good block, still on his feet at the 45, and he is taken down. Larry Ned, running back, special teamer, 45-yard punt, 10-yard return.
I want to see how, how they're coming along. We just saw Philip Buchanan. You'll see now Napoleon Harris, who's the other #1 pick.
Ball lumped up in the air by Hutchinson, looking for Jermaine Copeland. Jermaine Copeland. No shot at catching that one as we take a look at the Raider draft, as you were talking about, Sean.
Yeah,
Philip Buchanan taken first and Napoleon Harris.
And Langston Walker we saw earlier, and I just call him man. He's such a big kid, Langston Walker. But what is he, about 6'7"?
Langston Walker is an awful big man. Yeah. He is a 344 pounds, 6'8".
He's 6'8" and 340. If they list him at 340 and change, you know he's about 360. And if you're that big, you've got to have a nickname. Okay, so before the end of camp, they'll come up with a nickname for him.
Hutchinson throws the ball to Copeland, brought down by Willie Ford. I like the way this young man's throwing the football here tonight.
Well, he had a nice drive in the previous drive. Like we said, 13+ plays after the little bumble with the ball. And now you see why they're so high on him. And
how difficult do you think it is to go from throwing a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, where he had little control, to a football?
I think throwing the long ball is probably the easiest thing for him. But probably the most important thing, the most difficulty he'll have in his transition are the touch passes. And the game has to slow down for him. And you haven't played football in 4 years. That's the hardest thing for you to get through, having the game slow down for you. And, it'll take some time, but he definitely has the tools.
Woodrow Dantzler.
Another quarterback.
On the run right there. First player in NCAA history to throw the ball for 2,000 yards and to run it for 1,000 yards. He did it at Clemson. Yeah. That's quite an accomplishment.
And Hutchinson, you talk about him playing baseball, okay, and having limited success there. Now, he's got to make it as a football player because he is just horrible as a guitar player. You watch him on Hard Knocks? Oh, my goodness.
Back. This time it'll be Filipovic punting. Filip Filipovic. He puts the ball high into the air. Fair catch signaled for. Taken by Buchanan on the 15-yard line. And Rick Meyer will once again come out and try and direct the Raider troops and sustain a drive. Raiders trail 17-6. A minute 23 left in the third quarter. First Raider game of the season. Now the Cowboys had a scrimmage against Houston. They have been practicing down in San Antonio. Their opening game will be against the Houston Oilers. What do you think about that? A little bit of pressure on the Cowboys there against the Houston Texans in their return?
Well, they've been accustomed to Texas being their entire state. They've had the whole state to themselves for the past few years, and now they're going to have to share it with the Texans, because I tell you what, the Texans have come into this league with a lot of ballyhoo. They didn't come in here like any other expansion team. They've got their own set of fans. They have a first-class organization down there. And if I noticed anything in that game on Monday, is that they just need to get some better team speed. And I like what I saw on Carr. So I think they'll put up a nice little challenge for the Cowboys for a first game of the season. In the first game of the season, anything can happen. There's so much emotion out there. There's so much energy out there. There's so much adrenaline rushing. It's important.
On the telephone, Chad Hutchinson checking with the coaches upstairs. Impressive so far. Meyer has it dropped by Larry Ned and bring up a third down. Raiders open up against Seattle. Of course, we'll show the new realignment of the NFL here shortly. Seattle has transferred out of the AFC. They are now in the NFC. Raiders in a 4-team division with the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and San Diego Chargers. But Seattle opens up the season against the Raiders. Meyer, and he is taken down just as he throws to the ball. Colston Weatherington hits Rick Meyer, and Meyer feels the sting.
This just comes right off the corner.
Up.
It creates some indecision on the inside there.
Blew right past Wong.
With Wong and not making, you always step the inside to take the most dangerous man. Wong got a little confused and gave Weatherington just a clear path to Rick Meyer. Rick is going to have a conversation with Wong about that because
Leffler to punt once again. Another low. This kick spiraling takes Rambo way back. Takes it at the 26-yard line. Brings it up now out to the 45 where he is smothered by a bunch of Raiders. And guess what, folks? We've got a penalty marker. 54-yard kick holding against the Raiders. 15-yard return. And I'm sure we'll get to see this one played again. With the return, looks as though boys.
Holding, Oakland, number 23. 10-yard penalty, repeats 4th down.
Want the ball kicked again.
Make the team true to a point. They're going to have about 6 or 7 spots on this team. And yeah, anyone can get those 6 or 7 spots, but you better be able to play special teams if you want to get.
Here's Rambo. Another flag is there. Oh, a big block right there. As Rambo takes it all the way down to the 30-yard line. Big block that time. Carried out by number 33.
And that's one of those things.
Dallas.
When you're watching a game from up here, you want to say, hey, look out for that. Oh, and before you know it, you're knocked off the screen. You're able to play special teams right there. You're going to see it. If you can play special teams in this league, you're going to, find a way. They're going to find a way to get you on a football team. And like I said before, a lot of these young kids, here it goes, pow.
How long will Brandon Christensen feel that one?
For a pretty long time, because not only do you get hit out, but then tomorrow you watch a tape, and you got to go through it all again. Matt Millen and I used to get together after we played the game, and we called it getting our lies straight session. We used to go watch tape after the game was over and come up with the lies we would tell next day in the film session. But when it's that vivid, you can't make up a lie about getting knocked off the field.
Shane Lechler, who had 3 punts on the evening, now makes his 3rd attempt on 4th down here to turn the ball over to the Cowboys.
Oh!
This one's blocked. Blocked by the Cowboys in the end zone. The Raiders need to cover that ball. Otherwise, it's a touchdown. It's picked up. Randall Williams on the block. Picked up by the Raiders. Taken out. Billy Davis picks it up. He cannot advance that ball.
3-yard line. Dallas takes over on down. 1st down.
3.
Williams is probably the fastest guy on this Cowboy team, which is saying Joey Galloway on it. Ran an unofficial 4.040. That's moving. Here we go.
Taylor taken down in the backfield. Nice play by Eric Johnson on the tackle. Dantzler.
2nd and goal at the 8.
On the carry.
Talked about Woody Dantzler earlier, a quarterback in college, trying to make the transition here to running back. He struggled a little bit, but just a tremendous athlete in college. I mean, able to tote the ball, running it and throwing it down the field, and they're hoping he can make the transition here as a running back.
Hutchinson sets back. Flags go down. Hutchinson throws it away. Usually in the area, Sean, of holding.
Holding, Dallas, number 62, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Right path by doing some of the little things.
Here's Hutchinson, pressured again this time. Gets out of the pocket. Throws the ball, it's caught, but it'll be out of bounds. Eric Johnson again, chasing him out of bounds.
Got a man
and we've
down.
got a Cowboy in the backfield. Coverage as well. So the Raiders, I'm sure, will be looking at their special teams, which have been stellar in the past.
Well,
probably, in all likelihood, will be good again this year. It is the first preseason game. Pitch out, taken by Tony Taylor.
And that's two nice plays back-to-back by DeLawrence Grant, getting up the field, cutting off any kind of lanes whatsoever. And Grant, a kid out of Oregon State, came in, supposed to be an undersized player, put on some nice weight, and is able to play the run equally as well as getting after the quarterback. Now, you see Grant here getting up the field, squaring his man. When you do that, it stops the ability of the running back to cut back for cutback lanes. When he tries to cut back, boom, there's Johnson right there making the tackle.
Billy Cundiff on the field goal attempt, puts it up and through from 36 yards. Tack on 3 for the Cowboys. They now lead by 2 touchdowns. We've got 13:25 left to play. The Raiders will have the ball, and as well as sports fans around the country paying honor and tribute to a life that should be celebrated. The great Chick Hearn, as you see him pictured there with his granddaughter, laid to rest today in Los Angeles. I've known Chick Hearn an awful long time. I will miss him dearly. As we take a look at the kickoff, Ronald Curry takes it in. Chick Hearn was one of the few people in our business who is genuinely happy for other people's success. He never felt that somebody else doing something well detracted from what he did. And he was always there with an encouraging word. Genuinely happy to see people. 85 years of age, a great life. Of course, well acquainted with Al Davis, who would have been at the funeral today as well. Chick Hearn called football games at USC when Al was in 1957, and they became well acquainted over the course of the years. All of us throughout Southern California, and I live in Los Angeles, as well as all of California, and Laker and basketball fans will miss Chick Hearn, Sean.
Yeah, just an icon in the sport, and like you said, it's a life celebrated. If you're gonna miss it, Shaq said it best, he's gonna miss it. Chick calling him Kareem. It's when you have a life that Chick Hearn has had, and it brings so much joy to so many people. You have to celebrate that.
He sure did. Kareem at the funeral today, as well as Kobe, Elgin Baylor, Nixon, Magic, and all of the great Los Angeles Raiders.
Take a look.
You're blessed in a lifetime when you're able to hear somebody like Chick Hearn do it so well for so long, and be such a gentleman.
Fun to listen to, I tell you that. Fun to listen to.
Back to the football game. Raiders trying to mount a rally. Myron on first down. Looks downfield. Ball is overthrown. The intended receiver, Christensen. Brandon Christensen. Let's go down to George Atkinson.
As guys, I have with me the captain of the defense, Greg Beekert. Greg, the defense was a little sluggish the first half and the second half. In the words of Coach Bresnahan, you guys missed a lot of tackles.
Well, we did, and that's a big thing in defense, is not missing tackles. You want to play well, you don't miss tackles. And, a lot of it, I think, is excitement. Guys are ready to go full speed and tackle somebody who haven't had the chance to do that yet. And this is our first chance. But I always say the most improvement comes between the first and second game. So that's something we got to look at next week and really tighten things up.
You brought some in here. You brought Farrell in from San Diego. You brought Woodson in. And these are guys who can help this defense. Talk about these guys. And you also brought Romanowski in. Talk about these guys and what they can contribute to the defense.
Well, all these guys bring so much experience and Pro Bowl level play. It's incredible. You sit and talk to them. They know defense. They know how to play. And they're excited to be here. And they think that, this is a team they chose to come to as free agents, knowing what we had and where we're going. And so it's have them here. You can't have enough experience on a defense, and we've got that right now.
Well, I know Coach Bresnahan will have you guys working double hard next week. Thanks for the interview. All right, Jim, back to you.
George, thank you. Raiders trying to mount a drive here.
But George hit on it, Jim. You talk about building a winning environment, which Raiders already have. And you add guys like a Romanowski who's been to 2 Super Bowls and who's won a Super Bowl. Romanowski winning two Super Bowls. And a quality guy like Perella. That's just adding. People make so much about the age. Somebody should have yelled crack just a while ago. People talk about the age of some of these players, but the Raiders, and what makes them such a special organization, they've always just looked at production.
Larry Ned on the carry there. Yeah. Well, you're right. Is it old or is it productive? I mean, if you want to talk about old, the Detroit Red Wings, I know it's a different sport. The oldest team in the NHL just won the Stanley Cup. What does old mean? Does old mean that a guy like Rod Woodson is old, but he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, just picked up a Super Bowl ring a couple of years ago?
Right.
He's still a very, very good player. What does the age matter? Jerry Rice. Look at what he did last year. So
I think that, this league has a herd mentality, and if one team does it, then a lot of teams just follow suit, and you can't be that way, because I think a lot of quality football players get left out, and especially in this market this year. People talk about a buyer's or a seller's market when you're dealing in real estate. Well, this market, the players were cheap. You were able to get players for prices that you normally wouldn't be able to get a player for. So you go out and you add quality guys for a football team, and hopefully you're that much better off.
Why would anybody even think of criticizing adding Bill Romanowski? People of this nature, why not go for it if you're in the position? You're a bad call away from playing for the Super Bowl.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. When you're talking about going for it, it's 4th down. They're going for it, and
they don't convert.
They do not convert.
Meyer, incomplete. Was intended for Eli Thurman. Meyer 4 for 10 for 37 yards. The Cowboys will take over on downs. Raiders defense put to the test once again when we return.
1, 2, 1, 2.
One day, Eddie the Echo.
Once again, directing. Good to have Andy back on professional football. Mr. Stats, Elliot Kalb in the booth, Jim Gray along with Sean Jones. Pass along our best wishes, and we hope that Jim Plunkett feels better. Jim unable to make the trip, as well as Charlie Jones on the injured reserve. Charlie sitting in this position the past several years. We wish him all the best. George Atkinson joining us on the sideline, as always, doing a terrific job. Changed his shirt 4 times tonight. He wasn't hot, but he is now. Handoff to Johnson, brought down by Ray Robinson. Ray Robinson got that turned around. We take a look now at realignment for the National Football League. We talked about it. It's been a long time coming. There are now 4 4-team divisions in each conference as we take a look now at the AFC. Denver, Kansas City, San Diego, and Oakland in the AFC West. Shifting out is Seattle. You take a look at Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets. Of course, New England, the Super Bowl champions. And the new AFC South comes into existence, the new division.
And they really tried to right, the ship. I never understood how, Arizona was in the East. So they try to get it right. They still have a couple quirks to it, but you look at the NFC, Jim.
You take a look at Dallas, that remains basically intact with Arizona shifting out of there. Philadelphia, Dallas, traditional rivals, of course, as well as Washington, a big rival, and the New York Giants. And you take a look at the NFC West, you still have St. Louis because of the Los Angeles connection with the Rams, and Seattle becomes the new team there, joining San Francisco and Arizona.
So they tried to maintain some of the rivalries. You can't please everyone, but I think they did a pretty good job because it was always out of kilter. And with 32 teams now, something had to be done. So I think it's going to be exciting. It's up for grabs. You have 4 teams in a division. Anything can happen. It's not like you have that 5th team, which is the wild card anymore. You have 4 teams in a division, so you have to, the division games become even more important.
Swinton, who hurt his ankle earlier in the game, goes limping off, dropping the pass. Micah Knorr will now punt, and once again, Ronald Curry will receive. Ronald Curry from North Carolina, tremendous athlete, was with the Tar Heels when they went to the Final Four. Played basketball. McDonald's #1 high school when he came out of Virginia. #1 high school quarterback will now try and receive the punt. And this one's almost blocked, but Knorr gets it off. Curry asking all of the Raiders to move away. They do. And it takes a good Dallas bounce all the way down to the 11-yard line. But we have a penalty. 56-yard kick. The referees have gotten restless after 4 or 5, 7, 10 plays. No penalty, so they throw.
There was no foul for holding on the play. First down.
I think
Maybe they're
got
not restless.
No,
Picked it up.
They just got tired of throwing it. He didn't want to explain anymore.
We'll be back. To the post, 1977 AFC playoff game against the Colts. And then, of course, who can forget this one, the Holy Roller against the Chargers in 78. Casper falls on the ball in the end zone. There you have it. That one's been played and replayed. He finished with 378 receptions, 200-plus yards, and 52 touchdowns. Congratulations to Dave Casper for going in to the Hall of Fame, an honor well-deserved. He joins 12 of his fellow Raiders. Penalty marker down on the play. Madre Hill has the ball, taken out of bounds after a gain of 7, and we'll listen to Ed Hockley. False start by the Raiders. Here are the other Raiders in the Hall of Fame. Of course, the Raider contingent headed up by Al Davis, Jim Otto. Of course, you know the rest of these guys. We want to pass on our best wishes to Jim Otto for a quick recovery. Jim and his wife, Sally, I'm sure watching the game back in the Bay Area. An administrative assistant, longtime Raider, great center, 00. Suffering from prostate cancer. We are suffering with you, Jim. We feel for you, and we wish you all the best for a speedy recovery. Look forward to seeing you back in Oakland, you and your wife, Sally, at the game when we return for the San Francisco 49ers on the 24th later in the month, and hopefully you'll be able to travel with the team, maybe down to Tennessee if you're feeling up to it.
Yeah, you look at all the great list of all the great Raiders there. Obviously, Jim Otto leads that group. Every team has a player that is synonymous with that organization, and Jim Otto is that player for the Raiders. Just a great leader of this organization. And anytime you're around the Raiders, Jim is always around. And that level of consistency in terms of the tradition, what the Raiders are all about, is what Jim Otto has always been about.
Pass complete to Thurman. And it was good to see Jim Otto. I watched the Hall of Fame inductions, of course, Casper and Dan Hampton and Jim Kelly, and of course the great George Allen and Bruce Allen representing his father, as well as Senator Allen from the Raiders. Great to see Jim in the background of the inductions. Yeah. Of course, John Stallworth inducted as well, and you could see Jim in the background there with Al Davis and John Madden. Right. John, of course, introducing Dave Casper into the Hall of Fame. And John Madden is a guy who was honored by the broadcasting wing. He should be going into the Hall of Fame as we take a look at Myrer again with Thurman. But John and Tom Flores and Ray Guy, and we have a list of them here. Jim Plunkett, 2 Super Bowl wins. Lester Hayes, Cliff Branch. It's astonishing to me that these guys have not been included. There's a couple of Dallas Cowboys. Let's not forget, we're in Dallas here. How is Bob Hayes not in the Hall of Fame as well?
I don't know, man. I think that this whole Hall of Fame thing has gotten way out of whack. Not just in football, in baseball too. They've gone crazy in terms of not addressing how produced on the football field. And Bob Hayes should be in the Hall of Fame, as well as all those other Raiders that we had up on the board.
Rayfield Wright as well from the Cowboys.
Right, of course.
How long is he going to? There you see.
And this madness about
marker. There's Jerry Jones. He's up for induction into the Hall of Fame. He's made it to the final 15. Jerry made some tremendous contributions.
Yeah, but this madness about Ray Guy not being in because he's a kicker. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Last time I checked, they were a part of the game. You have announcers, you have broadcast people, you have all these other people in the Hall of Fame, and people that really affect the game, like a Ray Guy who changed the way the game is played.
Has anybody had a greater effect than John Madden? Forget the television. Yeah. He won 100 games faster, I believe, than any coach in the history of the National Football League. Excuse me for talking over Hockley.
Well, Ed Hockley, he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame,
but
too.
John Madden deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's by far and away the most famous person out there for professional football. And let's take that away from him. Right. Let's exclude his contribution, what he did with the Raider organization, all the championship games and the Super Bowl victory. Should put him in there, as well as Tom Flores.
There's no doubt that
2
John
Super Bowl
will get in there, but still.
Larry Ned. And we wish John well. John will be on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, saw their broadcast last week, and
we wish him well with ABC and Al Michaels.
It'll make it fun again to watch. It's kind of hard to stomach the last couple of years with the comedian on there. I think John will bring back, some credibility to Monday Night Football.
Raiders' 17th penalty. .45 left in the game. Meyer, ball bounces around. Intended. Well, unfortunately, I can't see who that was intended for. Sean, can you see it? Marcus Williams, thank you for the help.
No problem. That's what teammates are for.
I appreciate that. Been a very good teammate tonight, too. Ball was almost picked off and was dropped by Keith Davis.
And Marcus Williams, he's another interesting player. Kid that was a wide receiver last year. Jim sent him to Europe as a tight end. Had a nice season over in NFL Europe. And now trying to latch on here as a tight end.
Meyer will attempt it again. This one comes over the middle and is caught by Thurman. Thurman getting some action here. Practice squad player last year. Shows a lot of promise, according to Coach Cowher. Made some significant progress. Signed as a free agent in 2000 from Philadelphia.
And the key out here, Jim, is listen. You are on auditions, not just to be a Raider, but to show the other 31 teams in the league that if you don't make it here, you deserve an invitation to work out for them or get a chance to be signed for another football team. So don't expect there to be any let up in the last 5 minutes of the football game. These guys are still vying to be a part of this great tradition that the NFL has become. It's a part of American lifestyle now.
Leckler really connects. Rambo takes it back. That was a sensational punt. Good coverage. Brings it back out. 56-yard punt. 17-yard return. 39-yard net punt for the Raiders. And once again, the Cowboys will take over on the 28-yard line. I don't understand the Hall of Fame. I really don't. People go in and it's so political. Shouldn't it just be the best players, the best coaches?
No, the best
how was Bill Parcells left out a couple of years ago?
That's the thing. The best players and the best coaches, they figure that there should be a limit on greatness in this league and how you affect the league. And I think there's a problem when only writers vote on something. I just think that it's wrong.
It shouldn't be political. It should be about achievement and excellence.
You shouldn't have to campaign to get into the Hall of Fame. It just shouldn't be that way.
Sack by the Raiders. Kenyon Coleman, the first to greet Hutchinson. Raiders' first sack of the evening.
Yeah, and Kenyon Coleman is a guy that they've really surprised. In fact, not surprised. He's everything that they expect him to be. You see the butt there, pull, jerk with a rip. And that's just good technique. That's good technique. Coach Waffle really, the defensive line coach, really excited about what he's seen in Coleman so far. Coleman was an excellent player at UCLA, and then just dropped off the face of the earth. They said he just put the great plays together back to back. Some guys in college make better pro players than they do college players. Coleman seems to be one of those guys.
Enos Haywood tackled by Ekiyor. Let's go downstairs. George Atkinson, joined by a fellow man in the backfield. George?
You got it, Jim. I'm here with Charles Woodson, all-pro cornerback. I think the best in the league, without a doubt. Charles, you're not playing tonight. Talk to us about precautionary measures that was taken, and where are you with your toe?
My foot is feeling pretty good. I just didn't want to, go out there on the turf and play tonight, and have a chance of aggravating it out here on this turf. But, I'll be ready next week, ready to go down there to Tennessee and do a little work.
Now, there are a number of defensive backs in camp. Talk to us about some of the young guys and who you impressed with.
Well, I think, first of all, Phillips being a first-round pick, he's going out there and showing some improvement out there. He's getting better every day. He's making plays out there in practice, intercepting the ball. You see him with a pick tonight that stopped the drive. Having Rod in there, pushing those guys at safety, it's going to make us a better team.
And you talked about Rod Woodson. Just how important is he for the safety? You got some young safeties back there. What does he bring to the table?
Experience, a guy that knows how to win. He's been there. He's a perennial Pro Bowler.
He goes every year, you know, so he's a guy that brings a lot of experience. He's been there to the top. You know, we think he's going to give us a lot out there on the field on Sunday.
So you'll be ready for Tennessee. That's another field with turf. Will that affect you at all, you think, or will you just get a few to stay sharp?
No, Tennessee ain't no turf.
I thought Tennessee. Is it grass? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was turf.
No, I thought it was turf. I'm going to be ready to go next week, man.
So what can we expect from Charles Woodson this year?
Big things. We're trying to help lead us to the championship. You know, we've been close the last couple of years. You know, it's time to go ahead and win one now.
You know, I talked with Timmy Brown about you guys walking out on the officials, and I asked him, did he think it would affect you at all this season? Give me your opinion on that.
Well, we get bad calls anyway, so I don't know how much it's going to affect us, but we felt like, you know, the officials last year in the league, they turned their back on us, you know what I mean? So, you know, we just felt like we was going to make a statement, getting up and walking out the meeting with the officials. And, you know, the officials, you know, they're a big part of the game, you know what I mean? And we feel like last year it was a bad call, so we got up and walked out.
Does that put closure to the bad call last year in New England?
Well, it's over now. You know, it's a new season, so we just got to get ready. You know, we just got to get ready to go out there and play good football, man, and try to get back on top.
Okay, man, thanks for it. Charlie, back to you.
Well, Charlie's back at home in San Diego, resting comfortably. Thank you, George. Let me ask Charles Woodson, do you still have him with you?
Yes, I do.
How often has he thought of that play in the offseason?
You know,
Tom Brady.
Jim Gray in the box wants to know, how often have you thought about that play on Brady during the offseason?
Every day. Everywhere I go, somebody's always talking about it. Hey, Charles, that was a fumble, you know, blah, 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 blah. So every day, man, I never get a rest of the moment, ever.
You know, Brady wasn't it was a good call. You know, the referees made a good call. Talked about it.
He's got to say that. They was on the receiving end of that call, you know what I'm saying? They go on to win the Super Bowl. You know, we can never take that away from them. But, I mean, everybody in the world knows what happened in that play and the way it should have gone.
Okay, man, thanks for your time. Good luck to you. All right, Jim.
George, thank you. You know, sometimes, Sean, in sports, Doug Collins, the great player, played in the '72 Olympics and had his heart broken with the Russians on the overturned play by the officials, said sometimes you have to have your heart broken before you can be a champion.
Well, that means the Raiders are going to win it all this year.
Well, you can't have your heart broken any worse or have it taken any worse than what Doug Collins and that team and the Raiders have had taken from them. And if Doug Collins is right,
yeah,
then this heart being broken may end up in a championship. We've seen it before several times, not to this degree or not under these circumstances.
It's unfortunate what happened, but you have to move on, just like Charles said. You know, you can't just sit around waiting for things to happen. You got to make things happen. So now the Raiders, they've learned a good lesson from what happened in that game last year, and you just have to build on it. You know, most successful people will tell you they learn more from their failures than they do from their successes. So hopefully the Raiders have learned a great lesson. You cannot leave the game in the hands of an official. You just have to knock them out the box. There's no reason why the Patriots should have been played with the Raiders last year, even though they won the championship. So this is right. You know, you go out there this year, you play good football, and you put yourself in that position again.
He said something very interesting, and I know a lot of the great athletes who I've spoken to over the years when they've lost in heartbreaking defeat think about it every day. They never get over it. Even those who've gone on to win championships, they never get over tough defeats. They never get over bad calls. Whether you win 1 championship, 5 championships, or you never obtain it, it always eats away at you.
I was fortunate enough to win a Super Bowl, and I get more conversation about that Buffalo game when I was with the Houston than anything else. So you're right. And I remember that game vividly too, because you don't like to blow opportunities as an athlete. And you know, it's unfortunate, but like you said, you grow up and you learn from it. And
Oakland,
keep going.
number 60, 10-yard penalty.
What do you make, Sean, of the NFL electing not to address the tuck rule or do anything about it?
Well, I think it's kind of absurd. I think it's just par for the course with the NFL finding ways of sticking their heads in the sand when it comes to certain issues. I mean, it's just asinine to believe have a rule like that just makes no common sense. I mean, at some point you have to just rely on some common sense. A ball comes forward, it hits the other hand, and then you're going to tell me that the ball was I mean, tell me anything you want to tell me, but don't try to make something up that doesn't make any sense. And I understand that what the rule was intended to do, but the call itself on its face, there was a call made on the field. The purpose of instant replay is just to determine was there anything conclusive about that call. And that play, that's not what instant replay did. Instant replay was the rule book and interpreted the rule. That's not the purpose of instant replay. So even on its face, it made no sense how the call played itself out. But also, you have the competition committee. You have the PI committee, another committee that governs, rules and regs in terms of what happens on the football field. At that point, then those rules should be cleared up. If a wrong should have been righted in the offseason, and I don't think it still has. It's left itself wide open for something stupid like that to happen again.
Well, I think Mike Holmgren said it best in the league meetings when he got up and was speaking, and there was a conversation about this. Mike Holmgren said, as we look at Myra back to pass, has a man open, and the ball is picked off, intercepted by the Cowboys. Keith Davis. That's a costly turnover. Minute 55 left. It'll be the 2-minute warning. Raiders will need a miracle to pull this one out. They trail by a couple of touchdowns. 2 minutes, 1:55 back.
Great, check this out. New releases, Gary
Gray and Sean Jones. My first attempt here at play-by-play for the Raiders. I'm Mike Lombardi, the Raiders, Sherritt Reichert, Mike Taylor, John Kingdom for all their help and trying to get me ready, as well as Rich Dalrymple and Brett Daniels of the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboy cheerleaders happy with what they see here tonight with their team. And of course,
they need a little work.
The stands happy to see them as well.
They need a little work. They're not in mid-season form. I've seen better pom-poms than that. They've got to work on it.
Well, I guess it'll be a good show on HBO, Hard Knocks, this week. There'll be a good, be good to see the inside of this game plan, of how they put this together.
You gotta love Hard Knocks, boy.
Hard Knocks.
You got Hard Knocks even for the cheerleaders.
You're chubby around the middle.
You have to do a few more sit-ups.
Injured Cowboy hoggling off the field.
Oh, goodness.
Scott Zimmerman. Raiders call timeout. Linebacker, they move to fullback.
Zimmerman, speaking of Hard Knocks, he was featured on Hard Knocks.
Let us also take this time to pass our condolences on to a longtime Raider associate, man who all of us knew very well and cared a great deal about, Irv Kays, Raider administrative assistant back when Sean played, had the unique opportunity in his lifetime to work for both Al Davis and George. Had a sports talk show in Los Angeles for the past 10 years. Survived by his wife, his son Benji.
Yeah.
Pass along our condolences to Irv.
Irv, a quality guy. Had the distinction. You said he worked with both those organizations, Jim, and also won championships for both those organizations. A unique distinction, being a baseball champion as well as a football champion. Just a quality. You talk about
quality man.
It was just so sweet. Always had a smile on his face and always remembered something about you. That's what I remember most about Irv. Always could or something that you did that affected his life.
So many people came out with all of the quotes when Irv passed away. I think Al Davis had it best when he said, "I don't know anybody who didn't like Irv Kays." And of course, he was a commissioner of a league too. He was a commissioner of the CBA.
That's right.
The basketball league. We will all miss Irv.
Going for the trifecta.
Sean, what do you take away from this game if you're the Raiders as you head back to Napa and get ready for Tennessee?
Well, I feel confident that we can move the ball, and because you saw them do that against the Cowboys' first unit, and they've done it in every unit that's been in the game. But I'm very disturbed by the penalties that we had today, and you just go back to work. The Raiders have never put an emphasis on wins in the preseason. In fact, they've had better seasons when they didn't win a lot of preseason. The winning part of it is not really the issue, but you do want to execute. You want to make sure that all the hard work that you've put into your off-season program, as well as the work in training camp, you see something come to fruition when the bullets alive. And today they have to be disappointed because defensively, especially, they did not they did not have the execution that's necessary to win a championship. But good thing about it, that's all the negative. Positive, you have 3 more preseason games. You know, I'm a big anti-4 preseason game guy, but when you have a game like this,
Let me ask you,
you know,
Sean,
you need them.
as a player, did you feel bad when you lost a preseason game?
You want the truth,
or was
you
the
want to
recovery
lie?
time quick? I want the truth.
Absolutely not. Losing a preseason game is nothing. I went out there to make sure I executed. I walked into a game saying, okay, I want to get after the quarterback. This is how I wanted to get there. I wanted to line up straight. I wanted to do certain things. And if you accomplish those things, then you're on your way.
So individually, collectively as a team, they shouldn't feel bad. Individually, they should all want to step up their efforts and bring it together. Is that what your assessment is?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding
you have to find a way. I mean, we would tape. Earl Leggett was my defensive line coach. He would take this tape and throw it at somebody in the back room, you know, and he would grove you. Howie Long has this thing called a grove, where your coach,
5-yard penalty. Still first
you
down.
know, your coach or your parent, they don't talk to you for a period of time till you just succumb and just beg for forgiveness. That's what Earl used to do to us, you know. He used to just throw the film away, throw us out the room, and then by Tuesday or so, we were begging him just to please work with us harder. And so, you know, you just go back to the drawing board and work on the things you work on.
57 seconds left. Cowboys having trouble killing the clock. Officials got a workout tonight. Of course, it's preseason for them as well. Rich Gannon, Tim Brown, you'll see and hear a lot from them.
Well, you know,
4 of 6 tonight, 52 yards. Played just a couple of series through the first quarter. Actually ended at the in his drive. They drove the ball down the field and did get a field goal, and then he left the single drive that he had.
Well, it's not a good situation when at the end of the game, you see everybody walking off. The ref has an ice pack on his shoulder. You know, that's not how it's.
Or the hanky's worn out.
You know, the hanky doesn't have any rock in it anymore. It's way too many flags today.
This one comes to an end. The Raiders lose, ending their 2-game winning streak against the Cowboys. The Raiders have dominated the series. Preseason, of course, won't go on the official ledger, nor did those last year. We will return to wrap up this game. The Raiders lose their first preseason. The Cowboys win 20-6. Back with the wrap-up when we return.